guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review or kind of like a first impressions, swatches, and a little tutorial on this palette, which is the Huda Beauty palette. It's the rose gold edition and it does have the textured eyeshadows. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Shay. I'm so glad you're here and I would love for you to hit the subscribe button down below so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And if you end up liking this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Okay, so let's get into this Huda Beauty palette, which I'll just cut to the chase. I ended up really liking it. But a little backstory, yesterday I picked this up. It was the first day of the Sephora Beauty sale, the VIB sale, where you could save 20%. So I went into the store and I did pick up a good amount of things, some things that I usually buy and then other things that I just haven't bought yet just because it's kind of higher price tags and it's the perfect time to buy things when you can save 20%. So I did buy some higher ticket items and this was $65. So it definitely is on the higher end of eyeshadow palettes, but I just think it's very different than the typical eyeshadow palette, and so that's why I really wanted to try it. It used to only be available on the Huda Beauty website, but now Sephora does carry it. It's available on their website, and then obviously I picked this up in the store. So I will link it down below if you're interested in trying it. I don't know if it's in stock right now. I know it's kind of going in and out of stock because the demand for it is pretty high. So if you click the link and it's not available, just go ahead and hit the button where it says email when back in stock, and then they'll notify you as soon as it's back in stock and then you can purchase it. But I think they're trying to get some, a good amount of quantity for this because it is in such a demand. So I think if it's not available right now, I think it'll be back really soon. So kind of just the layout of this video, I'm gonna go over my thoughts on this palette, what I think of the pigmentation and everything like that. I'm gonna then go into swatching each shade, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a little tutorial of the eye look that I'm wearing right now. So just a little bit about the actual palette. Here is the packaging. I think it's beautiful. That's seriously really pretty. But anyway, so it comes like this, just slide it out, and it does come, and this is what it looks like. It does not have a mirror. It's just the clear top, which a lot of people really like mirrors, but to be honest, I really don't mind because it's very rare that I am using a palette like the mirror to apply the shadows. I just like my setup that I have in my vanity, and I like the mirror that I have there, and so no matter what product I'm using, I'm always using the exact same mirror. I don't tend to use, palette mirrors. So anyway, that's just me though. I know a lot of people were kind of disappointed when this didn't have a mirror, but it is a nice, you can see all the colors really beautifully. Also, people were a little bit disappointed that the packaging isn't super weighted, and that again doesn't really bother me. I'm kind of more in it for the product than I am the packaging. It doesn't feel cheap or anything. It's not like it's really cheap. It just isn't very heavy. Like the Naked palettes, it's very hefty when you pick it up. This is definitely a little bit more lightweight, but by no means do I think it feels cheap. When you open the palette, the top shades are the textured shades. This section right here is kind of the matte. So what drew me to this palette? First of all, the shades on this palette are so incredibly on trend. I am obsessed with the oranges. I'm obsessed with the cranberries. Just the warm colors in general, I absolutely love. I love that they're matte, but then I also love how there's these textured shades up here, and you can't get this in another eyeshadow palette that I can think of. I mean, I'm sure it exists somewhere, and you can get the foiled eyeshadows separately, like ColourPop has them. I mean, there are definitely companies that have the foiled shadows, and it does remind me of the foiled shadows, but just everything together, this is just a very unique palette, and I just really wanted to have it in my collection, and I'm so glad that I did buy it. The interesting about the textured shadows is you have to apply them with your finger, and that is what I think when you look at some reviews, like YouTube video reviews, a lot of people immediately hate this palette because they go in with a brush and try and pick up this product of the textured shadows, and it just doesn't work that way. And it even says on the packaging, if you read the back, that these shadows are best applied with your fingertip. And I think it might just be because the warmth of your finger kind of molds and melds the eyeshadow, and it just lays on your eyelid beautifully. So if you just use your finger, I'm telling you, you're going to like the shadows. If you take it with a brush, you're not gonna like it. You're gonna be like, what the heck, it's not picking up the product. It's kind of gonna have more fallout, and that's just the way it was designed. So if you go into it knowing that the top shadows you're gonna apply with your fingertip, then you'll be happy. You will like this palette. But again, if you go with the brushes, you're gonna not understand why it's not working, and then you're probably gonna think that it was a waste of $65. Anyway, I knew that, and I still, you know, I'll go into it when I go into the tutorial, but when you put it on your eyelids, it seriously, you're just like taken back. Like, it is so pretty on the eyelids. I was very, very happy with these top shadows. I think the colors are beautiful. Like I said, they're so in style right now, so on trend. I love the rose gold color. I love how this is a very, very pretty gold color, but then there's also like the cooler gold shade. And I just think that there's so many looks you can do with this palette. Okay, so for the matte shades, I think there's a very good range of colors for that as well. I absolutely love the colors, and I love the consistency of the shadows. I wouldn't say they're like as buttery as you could possibly imagine, but they're by no means chalky at all. I think when you pick up the product with your brush, it blends beautifully. I think the pigmentation is awesome. I'm definitely very satisfied and very happy with the matte shades as well. And I also just want to quickly mention the reason that this palette is a little bit more expensive than the average palette is because not only does it offer, you know, kind of different formulation of the textured shadows, but the ingredients of this are really good, and that is really important to me. I know a lot of other companies have, you know, very inexpensive eyeshadows, but some of their ingredients are a little bit questionable, and, you know, a lot of people don't care about that. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I probably should take more of a stance one way or the other, but I really truly do appreciate this. This doesn't have any talc, it doesn't have any parabens. Like, it does, it's just really good quality ingredients. And I think that is why when they were, you know, formulating this, they went to a lot of different factories, and they specifically chose the formulation that they were looking for, and in turn it did make the price a little bit more expensive than the average palette. I'm also very happy that they included a black shade. Back in the day when I was like makeup clueless, I was always confused why there were black shades in like every palette, because like after a while I was like, oh my gosh, I literally have like 20 blacks, like I don't need any more blacks. But now I appreciate it because it does just give, it's just more convenient. When you're doing your eyelids, if you want to smoke it out, if you want to kind of like make it darker, you have it right there at your disposal. And I don't know, I'm just very glad they included a matte black shade. And it's definitely very black, but it's not so incredibly pigmented that it kind of covers up the other shadows, which I really appreciate. Sometimes the blacks are so black that it kind of just covers up everything that I did. But this one is definitely black, but you kind of put it on and you kind of, you know, see if that looks good, and then you can build it up more to make it a lot darker, or you can kind of just leave it so that it's kind of like a hint of dark. So I definitely like the formulation of this black. Okay, so let's get into the swatches of each shade so you can see them up close and personal and see what you think. Okay, so here are the swatches. I'll go through each one, but here's just a quick overview of them all. I'm actually going to start at the very top with the textured colors, and this all is just one pass because I wanted to show you that they are very pigmented. Okay, so with the very first shade, it's actually called Angelic, and it's not one of the textured shades. It is a very creamy metallic shade. It's very, very shimmery. So starting with the textured shades, the first one is Trust Fund, which is the one that I did use in my eye look, and then Rose Gold, 24K, Fling, and then Dubai. And so that's the top row, and as you can see, they're very, very shimmery and very pigmented and pretty. Here is the next row. The first shade is also a metallic, shimmery, creamy shade. It's not one of the textured ones. These two shades right here, this one's Moon Dust and this one is Bay. They're definitely very light, and I wouldn't say they're not pigmented, but they seriously seem like they're the exact shade of my skin, so that's kind of why it's hard to show up. And then the next shade is Shy. This is Flamingo, which I didn't think I would like at first, but now that I'm kind of playing around with it, I think it will be a fantastic color to kind of brighten up an eye look. And then the next shade is Bossy, and this last one is hashtag Blessed, and it is kind of like a textury metallic one, but not quite as textured as the other ones, but it's definitely very shimmery and pretty. The last row are all matte shades, and I think they're gorgeous as well. The first shade of that row is Sandalwood, and then there's Henna, Maneater, Cocoa, Suede, and then Black Truffle. So as you can see, the black truffle, it's definitely black, but I wouldn't say it's so incredibly black that you know, it's kind of hard to work with and it kind of covers up the other shadows. So I think it's definitely buildable and has a nice feel to it. So here again are all the shades, and see how shimmery it is. And then here are the matte ones. So I definitely am very pleased with the color payoff, the pigmentation, and the shades. Okay, so those were the swatches. Let's get into me actually doing this eye look, which I think is so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to start with a Morphe E22 brush, and I'm just going to take the shade Sandalwood, and I'm just going to apply that to my crease kind of as a transition shade. And as you can tell probably from my other eye, I am going for kind of a dramatic look, but yet not too dramatic to the point where like you'd be embarrassed wearing this like every day. So you know, this palette definitely is a bold palette. I just wanted it to be something that was, you know, semi-dramatic, but yet you could wear on an everyday basis if you wanted to. So now I'm going in with the shade Henna, and I'm still using the same brush, and I'm just, you know, applying this to my crease in windshield wiper motions and then also circular motions. And sometimes I use a piece of tape right here to go to make the line very sharp, but like I said, I'm not going for a very, very bold and dramatic look. I mean, I am, but once you get into having a very, you know, very cut line right there, especially with the very black, like sword-like eyeliner, then you're getting into something that you might not be comfortable wearing every day. I mean, some people do it and they can definitely pull it off, but maybe I'm just not as brave. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with Moon Dust, and I'm actually just going to kind of highlight my brow bone. This is kind of like a metallic-y shade, and it's very, very pretty. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm also going to take that same shade and I'm just going to lightly put it in the crease of my eye and bring it up to the kind of middle towards my eye. All right, so now I'm gonna go in with the shade Bossy, and it's so pretty. It's kind of like a cranberry shade, but it's pretty dark. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that just to the crease and kind of like the outer corner of my eye. All right, so now I'm gonna darken things up just a little bit. I'm gonna take this shade Black Truffle, which is the black shade. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that to my corner, and you can still see the cranberry shade, which is what I'm going for. And just go ahead and put that in the corner and kind of bring it down to your lower lash line. I'm getting a little bit more, and like I said, you definitely can build this up. So bring it up just a little to the crease and then kind of blend the bottom down. So as you can see, there are no harsh lines really. The top is still kind of cranberry, and then here is where we're blending it into the black shade. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with the fun part, which is the metallic textured shades, which I just wait till you see. Like, it's seriously gorgeous. So I'm going in with Trust Fund. And there were so many to choose, well, there weren't so many. There were 6 shades to choose from, but for some reason this jumped out at me. Okay, so I'm just gonna take my finger and apply it directly to the center lid. And seriously, just wait till you see how flippin' pretty it is. Like, oh my gosh, I just love it. Like, I really love it. Go ahead and put that in the center. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take the 24K shade, which is very, very gold, and I'm gonna then put that towards the inner corner of my eye and kind of just blend the two together. And then I'm gonna bring that down, whatever's left on my finger, and put some on the inner corner of my eye. And seriously, look how beautiful that is. Like, seriously, I'm just in love with it. So I'm going in, it's called Black Truffle, and just putting more black right here, just to kind of blend the two together better. I am gonna quickly take a beauty blender and just kind of dust off that. Totally wipes off fine, no issue. Now I'm gonna take a pencil brush and I'm going to go back in with sandalwood and henna. Just gonna kind of mix the two together and just kind of blend that over the lower lash line. I'm also gonna go in with Bossy too and put that at the outer corner down here at the bottom. Now I'm gonna go in with my absolute favorite eyeliner. I've talked about this before, but it's the Ardency in the shade Black. I'm telling you, this is seriously the best eyeliner. Like, I'm not even joking. It's so creamy, but it doesn't smudge. It goes on like a dream. Like, it seriously just goes on so easily and it doesn't move. Like, you have to buy it. Like, I'm not, just seriously, it's the best eyeliner. I'm gonna go over through my waterline. And see how it just like goes on so easily, and it also is very black. A lot of eyeliners I find are like, they have like this blue undertone and I can't stand it. This is like jet black and it's just amazing. I couldn't say enough good things about it. So I'm just gonna stop talking because I could just keep going. Now that I have my waterline done, I'm tightlining. Then I'm gonna go ahead and take a pencil brush again and kind of just blend the edges of that eyeliner so that it kind of comes down over my lash line and blends seamlessly. So this is the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. So I'm just gonna apply this on my upper and lower lashes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and apply my falsies, and then I'll show you the finished eye look. Okay, so here is the finished eye look. I absolutely love it. I think it's gorgeous. The colors are just beautiful. I'm seriously in love with it. So I think this is a look you could wear every day. If you're not this bold or not this courageous, you know, you definitely could kind of diet down. Obviously not apply the false eyelashes, that's definitely not needed, but I just wanted to, you know, put the whole look together and see what it looked like. But here's the final thing, and again, I'm very, very pleased with it. Okay, so just as a quick overview, again, I am very, very pleased with this eyeshadow palette. If you're interested, I definitely recommend it. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you're just gonna have to go into it with the understanding that the matte shades are, you know, wonderful, but the textured shadows are a lot different than the average eyeshadow. You are gonna have to apply it with your finger and just go into it knowing that. And once you do, expect to have beautiful, very different, kind of innovative eye looks. Like, I couldn't be more thrilled and more pleased with this. So I definitely think it's worth the $65. Again, I know it's definitely a higher price tagged palette, but I think it's a lot different than the palette as well. So therefore, the price does kind of justify what you get. As I mentioned in the beginning as well, it is the Sephora VIB sale right now. So if you can get your hands on this and you are a VIB member, then go ahead and, you know, you can get the 20% off, which would be awesome. Okay, so that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this palette, definitely leave them in the comments section below. I would love to answer them. If you have an eyeshadow palette that you're obsessed with, that you love, leave that in the comment section down below too, because I do have a good amount, but then I'm also, you know, it's just one of those things where I'm always wanting to try new ones. It's like I'm never satisfied, even though, like, I definitely like this one, but I just love trying different ones. So if you just have like kind of like a ride or die one, leave that in the comment section below. I would love to know what your favorite eyeshadow palette is. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.